The 2024 NASCAR season is here. Speed Weeks at Daytona are right around the corner. Let's take a look at what the 2024 NASCAR season is going to bring. Let's get into it. 2023 NASCAR season ended with Ryan Blaney raising the NASCAR championship high in the air, claiming his first NASCAR championship of his career. I'm curious to see if Ryan Blaney can pick up where he left off, winning almost back-to-back races. Lots of questions to fill, though. Can Denny Hamlin finally win his first championship this year? I hope so, but probably not. A boy can dream. Can Chase Elliott bounce back after a bad year in NASCAR? Can William Byron finally clinch a NASCAR championship with Hendrick? He was so close. He was in third place there at Phoenix, but Ryan Blaney taking the championship. Can Brad Keselowski win a race this year, going winless all year in 2023? And can he bring a championship home to RFK Racing? Can 2311 Racing make the playoffs once again? Can Bubba win more races? Can Tyler Reddick win more races? Penske has won 2 back-to-back championships now with Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano winning. Is this Austin Cindric's year? Could they be back-to-back championships? That would be crazy. But Penske has been dominant pretty much everything they've been doing lately, so we'll see what happens. But all of this will pan out over this year. So hope to do everything with you guys here this year with NASCAR on the channel here on YouTube. We'll be trying to do every live stream on all the NASCAR races on Sundays, so we hope to see you. So let's get into who's driving what for who, and let's take a look right now. All right, so our first set of drivers come from Spire Motorsports. Their manufacturer is Chevrolet. Their engine is Hendrick Motorsports. Drivers are Corey LaJoie in the number 7 car, and his crew chief is Ryan Sparks. In the 71 car is Zane Smith, and his crew chief is going to be Steven Duran. And Carson Hocevar in the number 77 is going to be tiered up with Luke Lambert. So they are the crew chiefs and the drivers set up here. In 2024, Spire expanded to 3-car operation, and they are tying in with Trackhouse Racing. Carson Hocevar and Zane Smith are set for their respective rookie campaigns. They should battle it out pretty good, but I think Zane Smith's going to make some moves here in the 2024 season. He is so good at Daytona, so look to see maybe he can do something there. Corey LaJoie in that number 7 Chevrolet in 2023, the 25th in final standings. He had 0 wins. He had 2 top 5s. He had 3 top 10s. So Corey LaJoie, I think he can win a race this year. I am going to mark it that he is going to win a race this year or get dang close to winning one. Zane Smith in the number 171 Chevrolet 2023 stats are 7th in the final Truck Series standings. He had 2 wins, 10 top 5s, 10 top 10s in the trucks, and then in 1 top 10 in the Xfinity Series and 1 top 10 in the Cup. So I think Zane Smith can do something here at Daytona, maybe a top 10, maybe inside the top 20, but I think he can do something at Daytona. Carson Hocevar, the number 77 Chevrolet in 2023, 4th in the final Truck Series standings, 4 wins, 11 top 5s, 13 top 10s in the Truck Series, so he made some noise over there in those trucks. And he had 2 top 10s in the Xfinity race. Could Corey LaJoie win a race this year, as I was saying? Will Zane Smith do well in the Cup Series? Carson Hocevar, top finish last year, was at Bristol in the Xfinity Series, so he has shown that he can do stuff in the short track. So we'll see what happens with this Spire Motorsports, but this is our first one. There you go. All right, our next set of drivers is coming from Kaulig Racing. Their manufacturer is Chevrolet. They are ECR engines. Their driver crew chief pairings are Daniel Hemrick in the 31 and Trent Owens is going to be his crew chief. And there's going to be multiple drivers driving the 16 car. We'll get into that here in a second, but the crew chief for the 16 is going to be Travis Mack. So let's little talk about entering its third full season in the Cup Series. Kaulig Racing is undergoing a huge change as the teams miss going into the 2024 season. With AJ Allmendinger moving into full-time Xfinity, Justin Haley moved over to Rick Ware Racing. We're not sure what's up with that in the 2024. And they also had a crew chief swap. Kaulig will head into the season with a bunch of drivers and Daniel Hemrick as its one lone full-time driver. Daniel Hemrick, the 31 Chevrolet, his 2023 stats, he had 8 in the final Xfinity standings, 0 wins, 6 top 5s, 18 top 10. So he can drive. He's been there before. He's been in Cup before as well. But he gets called up from the Xfinity Series to fill the Justin Haley seat. And he also made an additional 9 Cup starts with Kaulig Racing in 2022. So he is familiar with this team. So the number 16 Chevrolet, the beginning of the Speed Weeks, AJ Allmendinger will be in the seat at the Daytona 500. I'm sure he'll make the 500. He runs really well there. He's tallied up 6 top 10 finishes there. Can this team bounce back without AJ Allmendinger and Justin Haley in the mix? I'm not sure, but some people predicted that Hemrick's going to make some noise and maybe finish in the top 20 in points. We'll see what happens. Very interesting on this whole racing team. Our next set of drivers is the Legacy Motor Club. Their manufacturer in 2024 is going to be Toyota. Yes, in 2023, they waved that Chevrolet banner that resulted in 7 top 10 finishes, but now they are moving to Toyota. So, their engine is Toyota Racing Development. The number 42 car is going to be driven by John Hunter Nemechek, and his crew chief is going to be Ben Beshore. And the number 43 car, the old Richard Petty 43, Eric Jones, and his crew chief is going to be Dave Allens. And then Jimmy Johnson, part owner with Richard Petty, is going to be partial schedule, and his crew chief is going to be Jason Burdett. So this is the second year of Legacy Motors Racing, and they want to see if they can do something here with a new ownership group that includes a pair of 7-time NASCAR Series champions with Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty. Matt Kenseth has joined the team as well to help out a little bit, kind of move along young Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. But John Hunter Nemechek driving in the 42 car course. Gregson was in this car last year. In 2023, John Hunter Nemechek had 4th in the final Xfinity Series standings. He had 7 wins. He had 17 top 5s, 24 top 10s in Xfinity. He has certainly proved himself capable of winning races. So can he do it in 2024? We'll see. He showed that he can challenge for championships in the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. So maybe he can do something in this 42 car. Eric Jones in that 43 Toyota. It's good to see that 43 still out there. The 2023 stats for him, the 27th in the final standings. He had 0 wins, though. He had 1 top 5. He had 7 top 10s. Now, he has earned double-digit top 10 finishes in his 5 of his previous 7 seasons, and he's at least led 100 laps. So, can Eric Jones win with a Toyota? Should be interesting to see. Can Jimmy Johnson do well at Daytona this year? He's going to be running the 500 in that 84 car, but he's only running a partial schedule. But we'll see what happens with this second-year team. Legacy Motor Club is ready to win in 2024. The next driver we're going to talk about is from the Wood Brothers Racing. They drive the Ford, and their engines from Roush Yates Engines. This is their 3rd season with Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton driving the 21 Ford. His crew chief, Jeremy Bullins. This year, 2023 stats for Burton. 2 top 10s, 25 laps led last year. Not very much. 4 top 10s and 1 top 5 finish in his previous 2 seasons. If Burton would win a race this year, it would be their first time to victory lane. The Wood Brothers' first time to victory lane since 2017. So let's see what Harrison Burton can do this year for the Wood Brothers. Our next set of drivers come from Front Row Motorsports. They drive the Ford with Roush Yates engines. Michael McDowell, the number 34 Ford, enters his 17th Cup season in 2024. And he has, in 2023, he had the one win at the Indianapolis Grand Prix, which put him in the playoffs as well. 2 top fives, 8 top tens, and he was in the playoffs for the second time in 3 seasons. He also won the 2021 Daytona 500, and he is an excellent road course driver. So maybe he can win another one this year at the Roval. Of course, they're not doing the Indianapolis Grand Prix this year. They're going back to the regular oval. So we'll see what happens to Michael McDowell. But of course, he has a chance to win and also make the playoffs and maybe move on to the round of 8. 38 Ford is going to be driven by Todd Gilliland. His crew chief is Ryan Burgundy. And in 2023, not too good of a year for him. 4 top tens, and basically he needs to improve or he probably won't be in this car the rest of the season. But we'll see what happens. He is very strong at Daytona. He's always there at the super speedways. He is a good driver. I did fail to mention Michael McDowell's crew chief is going to be Travis Peterson in the number 34. So Front Row Motorsports, Michael McDowell and Todd Gilliland. We'll see what our next driver comes from the JTG Daugherty Racing crew. They drive Chevrolets and they have Hendrick Motorsports in those engines. JTG Racing made the NASCAR Cup Series last year with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning the Daytona 500. Kind of shocking the world, winning the Daytona 500. It was the second time they made the playoffs back in 2014, and then last year with AJ Allmendinger getting them in the playoffs in 2014. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr. driving the number 47 Chevrolet this year as last year. 2023 stats for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., or on our channel, we call them Recky Spinhouse Jr. 16th in the final standings. He made the second career playoff appearance for him. 1 win, 2 top fives, and 9 top tens in 2023. He is very, very good on the super speedway, so look for him to be a contender again for the Daytona 500 and Speed Weeks from Daytona. But hopefully they can make the playoffs again and maybe advance and keep on going. So we'll see what Ricky Stenhouse, or Recky Spinhouse, whatever you want to call him, does in 2024. The next 2 drivers we're going to talk about come from the Richard Childress Racing crew. They drive the Chevrolet with those Earnhardt Childress Racing engines, and they scored 3 wins last year with old rowdy Kyle Busch in 2023. They also have Austin Dillon, the number 3 Chevrolet, is his partner as well. Austin Dillon, his crew chief is going to be Keith Roden. This is his second year with Mr. Roden, and last year was not too kind for Austin Dillon. 2023 stats, he finished 29th in the final standings, 0 wins, 1 top 5, and 7 top 10s. Not a very good year for Austin Dillon. Lots of crashes, finding himself in spots that he did not need to be. But Austin Dillon in that number 3 Chevrolet, I'm going to try to bring back some good faith in that 3 on the track. And then Kyle Busch, his partner, teammate in that number 8 Chevrolet, won 3 times, like I said a little bit ago, in 2023, and almost won the Daytona 500, but just a little short. He said he would have won if it wasn't that green-white checkered. But Kyle's crew chief is going to be Randall Burnett. In 2023, Kyle finished 14th in the final standings, 3 wins, 10 top 5s, 17 top 10s, and 1 pole. Could this be the bounce back year for Kyle Busch? Could Rowdy win a bunch of races and make it to the championship or win the championship? Should be interesting to see what happens Last year was Kyle's lowest point total ever since his rookie year. So Kyle Busch wants to make a statement, especially coming up here in Speed Weeks at Daytona 500. Could he be in the running at the last couple laps like he was last year? We'll see what happens. But RCR Racing would like to make a statement here in 2024 by winning a little more races and maybe putting one of these drivers in the championship 4 at the end. Our next set of drivers come from Trackhouse Racing. They drive the Chevrolet with ECR engines under the hood. Justin Marks feels that Trackhouse Racing could be their year this year. This is their 3rd year in full-time competition with NASCAR Cup Series, and they have 2 good drivers. Ross Chastain, the number 1 Chevrolet, his crew chief, Phil Surgeon, and last year, 9th in the final standings, 2 wins, 10 top 5s, 14 top 10s. One that really kind of got outshadowed because of Ryan Blaney winning the NASCAR championship, but Chastain won in Phoenix. Could it be the other way around this year? Some other driver winning and Ross Chastain hoisting the trophy at the end of the year. We'll see. And then Daniel Suarez in the number 99 Chevrolet. Suarez has a new look crew chief with Matt Swinderski with Daniel Suarez. So could that make him win some more races? More top 10s, more top 5s, maybe the playoffs, maybe a championship. Both of these drivers have a chance to win the championship here in 2024 with Trackhouse Racing. They are stronger than ever, and I feel that Justin Marks has their drivers ready for this season. Our next set of drivers come from the Stewart-HAAS Racing. They are driving those Fords. They're Roush Yates engines. Their driver crew chiefs are Josh Berry, coming his first year with Stewart-HAAS, and he's going to be hooked up with Rodney Childress. Not too bad to have him as a crew chief in that number 4 car. Noah Gragson taking over Eric Almirola in the 10 car. His crew chief is going to be Drew Blinkenstoffer. I don't know if I messed that name up. I don't know. Chase Briscoe will be Richard Boswell in the 14th, and then Ryan Preece will have Chad Johnston in the 41. Now, this is the post Kevin Harvick era starting here at Stewart-HAAS Racing, as Kevin Harvick has retired and moved into the Fox booth. He's done a pretty good job. He actually did really well at the Clash. And then Eric Almirola as well retired as well. So 2 drivers missing from last year's 2023 season. Now, with the new drivers, short track standout Josh Berry and Noah Gragson, who did not have too good of a year last year, kind of a year to forget. But let's talk about Josh Berry in that number 4 car. The 2023 stats for him: 11th in the final Xfinity Series standings, 0 wins, 11 top 5s, 18 top 10s for Josh Berry. Now, he's very capable of doing a lot. He had 5 Xfinity races, wins, and he filled in for Rick Hendrick's drivers Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman and did a really good job for Hendrick Motorsports. But he has big shoes to fill because he is driving that number 4. Now, the Busch light sponsor is no longer on the 4 car. It is now on Ross Chastain's car. But he has big shoes to fill, and he's going to try his best. He did well with the Chevrolets of the Hendrick cars. So let's see what he can do here with Fords. Now, Noah Gragson, the number 10 Ford, he's going to be he's the new driver. Eric Almirola, of course, last season, running there, did really well. 2023 stats for Noah Gragson, though, total opposite. He finished 33rd in the Cup standings. He had 0 wins. He had 0 top 5s. He had 0 top 10s. And he's coming back from suspension because he was a bad boy on social media. So he is back now here in the 10 Ford. He has something to prove. He shows that he can do. He did well in the Xfinity Series when he drove. And see what he can do here in Daytona. He's always been a good super speedway driver. So we'll see what happens. But he's going to have to learn all over again, kind of like his rookie season. So Noah Gragson in that 10 Ford has some stuff to prove. A lot of showed NASCAR that he is ready for a full season in that 10 car with Stewart-HAAS Racing. Now Chase Briscoe in the number 14 Ford, he's as well Hopefully does pretty well here at Speed Weeks. You'll see him running in the top 10, probably all Speed Weeks. But in 2023, he finished 30th in the final Cup Series standings. Now, he had 0 wins. He had 4 top 5s. He had 8 top 10s. But that 30th place finish is kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. He had a violation that he lost a lot of points. So he finished 30th in the result in the final Cup Series standings. Now, Ryan Preece, everybody saw the flip at Daytona. My gosh, I thought he was dead. But Ryan Preece is driving that 41 Ford this year. In the 2023 season, 23rd in the final Cup standings. He had 0 wins, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. And man, that Daytona crash, everybody can still see it when they keep their eyes closed. But he did have a dominance at Martinsville last fall, looking really good. The spring race, I believe it was, looked really good. And then he had a penalty and then ended up not winning a race. But will Briscoe win a race? Will Ryan Preece win a race? I think one of these two will win this year. Maybe at a super speedway. I love those Talladega back in October with Shake and Bake, baby. That was pretty cool with both of those guys with the Wonder Bread and all that stuff. So it was pretty cool. So we will see what happens here with Stewart-HAAS Racing as they start all over again with some new drivers. So our next set of drivers comes from the Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. They drive the Ford and they have Roush Yates engines under the hood. In 2023, RFK Racing was dominant. And it seems like every time Chris Buescher was up there, his fellow teammate Keselowski was right behind him. They finished in the top 5 a lot together. But in 2023, it looked like it was Chris Buescher's season. He had 3 wins. It looked like he was just going to march through the NASCAR Cup Series and win it all. Certainly was not the case. But Keselowski, the number 6 Ford, his crew chief this year is Matt McCall. This is his 14th full-time NASCAR season. And in 2023, he had 0 wins, 7 top 5s. He had 16 top 10s and finished 8th in the final Cup standings. Though he's winless in his last 92 races. Can this break, please? Can we get Keselowski a win? Maybe at Speed Weeks this year. Hopefully he can do something. I'm sure he will be strong. I know some people that are picking Keselowski to win the Daytona 500 and maybe a NASCAR championship. Along with Brett Keselowski, there's Chris Buescher in the number 17 Ford. Chris Buescher, his crew chief is going to be Scott Graves. In 2023, he looked red hot. He had 3 wins. He had 9 top 5s and 17 top 10s, and he finished 7th in the final standings in the NASCAR Cup Series. This is his 8th full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series, and in 2022, he made the playoffs as well, where he had 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. RFK Racing can definitely be doing something here this year. Hopefully, Speed Weeks will probably be full of RFK Racing out front, and we'll be watching every step of it. Our next 2 drivers come from the 2311 Racing. They drive Toyotas and their engines from the Toyota Racing Development. Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, co-owners of 2311 Racing, we're excited about both of their drivers getting into the playoffs last year, both of them moving into the playoffs as well, with Tyler Reddick getting eliminated in the round of 8, Bubba Wallace getting eliminated in the round of 12. But both of them had a strong showing in the playoffs. But with this new Toyota body, they're not too sure what's going to happen this year. But this is their 3rd year in NASCAR Cup Series, the 2nd year as a 2-car organization. 2311, like I said, both drivers reached the NASCAR playoffs last season. The first driver is Bubba Wallace in the number 23 Toyota. His crew chief is Booty Barker. In 2023, Bubba Wallace had 10th in the final standings, 0 wins, 5 top 5s, 10 top 10s. Wallace matched his top 5 and top 10s from 2022, and it was a couple times that he was almost there for the win. But he was winless. For Bubba Wallace this year, the key is going to be consistent on all the ovals, all the super speedways. Stay out of trouble and work your way and work with a lot of people. So we'll see what happens to Bubba Wallace. Could he win one here at Super Speedways, the Speed Weeks this year? We'll see what happens. Tyler Reddick, his other partner, the number 45 Toyota, his crew chief is Billy Scott. In 2023, sixth in final standings, 2 wins, 10 top fives, 16 top tens, including a win at the Kansas Speedway. He made the round of 8, and it looked like he was going to move into the round of 4 the way he was driving, but then was eliminated in Martinsville. But that was his first time moving to the round of 8 as well. Tyler Reddick looking very strong last year. Both of these teams, like I said, they're gonna have to. Both of them will have to be consistent on the ovals and the super speedways. Tyler Reddick very good at the road courses, so we'll see what both of these drivers can do in 2024. All right, so I've been waiting for this one for the whole show. Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota Racing Development Engines. Man, oh man, Joe Gibbs Racing returns with the same lineup this year as is 2023. We thought it would be a little different. We didn't know what Denny was going to do. We didn't know what Truex was going to do, but they're all back, all 4 back for 2024. Both Truex and Denny now with 18 completed seasons. Both seniors on the thing, but I think Denny's just got them a little bit. But they also will get a revamped Toyota Camry XSE for 2024. Do we know what's going to happen with this car? Looks okay for now, but we'll never know until really get into speed weeks. But all 4 races are back, and it's going to be a talented crew this year. Denny Hamlin, number 11 Toyota. His crew chief is going to be Chris Gabehart. 18 full-time seasons in the NASCAR Cup Series. A senior after Hendrick has retired. Him and Truex. But in 2023, he finished 5th in the final Cup Series standings. He had 3 wins, 14 top 5s, 19 top 10s, 4 poles. We made a lot of Kevin Harvick fans mad. We made a lot of Chase Elliott fans mad. But he has survived. We thought Denny had to run this year. We thought 2023 was the year for Denny Hamlin, and it came so close, but not close enough. In Martinsville, he was eliminated. Man, so can you say that he's the best driver in the sport? I'm a little biased. I'll say yes, he is. But can Denny finally get the monkey off his back this year? I sure do hope so. If not, I don't think it's ever going to happen. But Denny Hamlin's ready for 2024. And then his senior counterpart, Martin Truex Jr., the number 19 Toyota, his crew chief, James Small. In 2023, Martin Truex Jr. finished 11th in the Cup Final Series standings. He was the regular season champion, and then it just fell off during the playoffs. Lots of bad luck. 3 wins, 9 top 5s, 17 top 10s, and 3 poles. Truex looked like he was cruising through the season. Everybody thought, man, wow, from last year not winning a race to this year dominant, this might be Martin Truex Jr.'s year. We'll see what happens this year. But in 2017, he won the series champion. He looked like he was about to do it, but did not. But Truex Jr. will be strong this year. Christopher Bell, the number 20 Toyota. Man, it was so heartbreaking to see him go down in the championship 4 race after that wreck at Phoenix, after he hit the wall and took himself out. Christopher Bell's crew chief is Adam Stevens. In 2023, he finished 4th in the final Cup standings. 2 wins, 10 top 5s, 19 top 10s. Christopher Bell was dominant all season long, and it showed because he made it to his 2nd Final 4 championship 4. And he came so close to winning it this time. But he's 29 years old, so he's going to be back again for sure. He won in Bristol. He won in Homestead, where he got into the championship 4. Wow, so good to see him celebrating like that. But then the Phoenix bad luck with the brakes took him out. But he has talent, and he's going to be back again. It's going to be tough. What if it comes down to Christopher Bell or Truex and Denny for the Final 4? Wouldn't that be crazy? Now, there is one other driver, Ty Gibbs, the number 54 Toyota. His crew chief is Chris Gale. He was so close last year to get into the playoffs. He was dominating the Bristol night race. Hey, I was there, but then Denny took it away from him. But can Ty Gibbs make the playoffs? Can all 4 drivers make the playoffs this year for Joe Gibbs Racing? Would be amazing. But he's young, and he's back for another year in that 54 Toyota. He's learned a lot. He's changed the way he does some things. I will admit that from the days in the Xfinity when he was taking people out left and right, he had a bad name in the NASCAR haulers. But he is ready for 2024. So Joe Gibbs Racing ready. We'll see what they can do. Our next set of drivers come from the Hendrick Motorsports camp. They drive Chevrolets, and they have those Hendrick Motorsports under those engines. Very strong. Two drivers made the playoffs last year, and two didn't even win a race. So we'll see what happens this year, as maybe all four will be racing every race this year, could have all four in the playoffs and competing for a national championship or a cup championship. First driver is Kyle Larson, the number 5 Chevrolet. Kyle Larson's crew chief is Cliff Daniels. In 2023, he finished second in the final standings, 4 wins, 15 top 5s, 18 top 10s, 2 poles, and he was the 2021 champion. And this year, he's going to do something that Stewart used to do. He used to run the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600, and that's what he is going to do this year. Kyle Larson, always strong and all the courses, just had a little bad luck there down their stretch. But Kyle Larson, number 5 Chevrolet, looks to make some noise here in 2024. Chase Elliott, the number 9 Chevrolet. Lots of Chase Elliott fans on our channel. Chase had a bad year last year. Chase Elliott's crew chief is Alan Gustafson. In 2023, he finished 17th in the final standings. He had 0 wins, 7 top 5s, 15 top 10s. But you got to take into effect he had 7 absences, 6 due to an injury, a snow skiing injury he had middle of the season or beginning of the season, and 1 due to suspension because he was a bad boy because he was mad at Denny. Chase Elliott is the 2020 Cup champion, and Chase Elliott, only thing he can do is race every race this year and try to win something and be strong and be like he used to be. Chase Elliott definitely will win one this year, I'm sure. But a winless season for Chase Elliott. So I see a strong comeback for Chase Elliott. William Byron, he was right there at the end last year at Phoenix, the number 24 Chevrolet. William Byron, his crew chief is Rudy Fugle. 2023 stats, 3rd in final standings, 6 wins, 15 top 5s, 21 top 10s, 4 poles. William Byron had it going on in the playoffs. NASCAR Cup Series, he led the NASCAR Cup Series last year with 6 wins total. And then the Phoenix Raceway, he was so close. He won the pole. He was dominant, but then Blaney took it over. But 3rd in the final standings, William Byron, really, really good. Our other driver is Alex Bowman, the number 48 Chevrolet. Alex Bowman, his crew chief is Blake Harris. 2023 stats, 20th in the final standing, 0 wins, 4 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and 1 pole. 4 top 5s in both years with 12 top 10s in 2022. So pretty much the similar season for both of them, but you got to take into effect that Bowman missed 3 races to a back injury that he suffered during a racing last spring. So Josh Berry took in effect a little bit of his cars during the season. But this was his first winless season since 2018. So I feel that these 2 drivers that did not make the playoffs, that did not win a race, will make a big time comeback this year in NASCAR and definitely win a race and maybe race for a championship or at least make the playoffs. So could all 4 make the playoffs? We'll see. But Hendrick Motorsports is ready for 2024. All right, our last set of drivers and our last racing team comes from Team Penske. They drive Fords and their Roush Yates engines under the hood. Hey, I can't. Team Penske is on fire right now. They've won 2 back-to-back championships, one with Ryan Blaney, one with Joey Logano. They won the Indianapolis 500. They won the 24 Hours at Daytona. On fire in Team Penske. So what will happen this year on the NASCAR season? It's got to have something with Penske involved, I'm sure. But let's start with the 2023 NASCAR season championship. Ryan Blaney, the number 12 Ford. His crew chief is Jonathan Hassler, and they're back again. Could they do back-to-back championships? It hadn't been done since Jimmy Johnson. But in 2023, he had 3 wins, 8 top 5s, and 18 top 10s with the NASCAR championship at the end of the year. He won at the Coca-Cola 600. He won at Talladega and in Martinsville. would put him into the Final Four. And now, the only thing that's going to be different about this year is that he's going to lose his spotter. Tim Vedua replaces Josh Williams. I believe Josh Williams was running with in the Busch Clash, so I'm not sure where he's going, but Tim Vedua is going to be the new spotter for Ryan Blaney. So could that be a difference? A little chemistry to learn how those guys work together should be interesting, especially coming up with Speed Week. So to Ryan Blaney, the 2023 champion. And then we have Joey Logano, who won in 2022. His crew chief is Paul Wolfe. And in 2023, it was kind of an off year for Joey Logano. 12th in the final Cup Series standings, 1 win, 11 top 5s, 17 top 10s. He did have a win in Atlanta, but it was his lowest win total since 2017 when he didn't make the playoffs. He was eliminated in the round of 8 after a big crash at Bristol, and then they had a very disappointing playoff run. So Joey Logano wants to get back into the winning ways and start with Speed Weeks coming up here very soon. And then there's Austin Cindric, the number 2 Ford, Team Penske, and the affiliated Wood Brothers Racing team did a crew chief swap right toward the beginning of the playoffs, which sent Brian Wilson to Team Penske. And now Austin Cindric got matched up with Brian Wilson, and it's a reunion for Austin Cindric and the crew chief Brian Wilson. They were together in the Xfinity Series, so could this be a good thing for him this year? We'll see what happens. But Austin Cindric in 2023, 24th in the final Cup Series standings, 0 wins, 1 top 5, 5 top 10s. Very disappointing year for Austin Cindric, his sophomore season. He's 25 years old, so he's going to be around a while. He's got 2 great drivers to learn. And there is Austin Cindric, the number 2 Ford. There are your set of drivers, all the racing teams we've talked about. So let's talk about the season schedule. Let's take a really quick look at that. Okay, so here is the season schedule. It's going to start with the Daytona 500, or the Twin Duels, coming up here on Thursday. We've already had the Busch Clash from LA. Denny Hamlin won that. We had that live here on the channel. But the Twin Duels will be on February 15th, this Thursday, and then the Daytona 500 on Sunday, the 18th. So we're hoping to bring you live play-by-play, audio, and all that, reactions, and all that good stuff. So make sure you're there for us for this Speed Weeks. We should have some fun. We're also going to do the truck race on Friday night, so that should be interesting. So let's take a look really quick at the 2024 schedule. Of course, you got Atlanta right after the Daytona 500 this year with no Fontana. They took Fontana off the schedule completely. And then you got, you got Atlanta, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Bristol. Bristol, back to concrete. No more concrete, or no more dirt over there in Bristol. It's also on St. Patrick's Day. That should be interesting. We're going to go to Coda, then Richmond, Martinsville, Texas. Let's see what else. Talladega, Dover, Kansas, Darlington, All-Star Weekend at North Wilkesboro. That should be interesting. Let's see. Charlotte, Gateway, Sonoma, and then NASCAR returns to Iowa. First time back since 2019. That should be interesting. And then Texas Motor Speedway. They are now moved up mid-April instead of late September. So back to Texas Motor Speedway for that as well. So the Brickyard 400 also returns. In July, we're going to be back to the oval, not the road course. So that is interesting. The Atlanta race dates, as I said, so there's no Fontana, so Atlanta's going to be the second race of the year, so that should be interesting. We'll see how the cold reacts in Atlanta to these cars. The New Hampshire race date is now there on June 23rd. They're normally in July, so lots of changes here. And then we get into late into the season. Darlington, let's see, I read something about Darling here. Darlington, the Southern 500 ends the regular season. So normally the Daytona race ends the regular season, but the Southern 500 will end the regular season this year to clinch the playoffs. So that should be interesting. And then we've got Watkins Glen in here, Bristol, Kansas. So Atlanta's going to be the first playoff race. Watkins Glen, Bristol, Kansas, Talladega. The Charlotte Roval is back as well. Las Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, and then Phoenix. So there is your 2024 schedule. So lots of things are changing. The Southern 500 to end the regular season. Texas Motor Speedway has been moved up. Atlanta's the second race of the year instead of way into the season. So, and then welcome back to the Iowa Speedway, back at it. So, and then Watkins Glen race date. So it should be awesome too. So lots of changes here for the schedule. Hope to bring every single one of these to you. If I don't, I do apologize. We'll try our best, but make sure your notification bell is on because we'll be scheduling these races on our weekends, and then we'll be ready to go on Sunday. So we'll be doing the live play-by-play, the audio, and the reactions, and we'd love to see you guys in the chat too. So hope to see you guys in 2024 here. That is the schedule. Lots of changes though. Good changes though. The 2024 season is almost here. All right, just to wrap things up here for this video, hope you guys have enjoyed it. Make sure you give the like button and subscribe if you like NASCAR. You will really enjoy our channel. We have a lot of NASCAR be every Sunday on our channel, live play-by-play and audio. So make sure you have those notifications bells on and come root on your driver because our chat is fan-friendly and we're an interactive chat. I try to talk to every single one of you guys. So let's do a little recap here. So Ford Mustang gets a new look. The Dark Horse, the Camry gets a new look. Kevin Harvick retires. Eric Almirola retires. Josh Berry's in Kevin Harvick's new ride, number 4. Zane Smith comes from the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, back up into a new ride for Spire Motorsports. John Hunter Nemechek's in there now at Legacy Motor Club in the 42. Carson Hufesvar has got in the Spire Motorsports. He's there. Hendrick now in the Kaulig Racing. Justin Haley and Rick Ware, he came from Kaulig Racing. Kaz Gralla, he's in Rick Ware Racing as well, the number 15. RFK Racing, I didn't get to mention that earlier in the video. They have a new car as well. David Reagan's going to be doing that one, so I'm sorry about that. I forgot to add them. So it's Stage 60 is them. And then that's it. So there is your recap. Lots of, like I talked about, the Brickyard going back to the oval. Bristol's going back to concrete. Watkins Glen is now in the playoffs. Iowa Speedway back. Southern 500's entering the regular season. The Texas Motor Speedway is earlier in the year. Atlanta's the second race of the year. We'll see what happens. It could be snowing in Atlanta on those days. Who knows? New Hampshire, new race, and then no Fontana this year. So there is your recap. I went over a whole bunch of race teams and all their drivers, their crew chiefs, and their stats and everything. So make sure you rewind on that if you really like all of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took a while to put together, and make sure you hit that like button for us and subscribe to our channel to On The Go with CeeLo for all your NASCAR content. So until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. It was a lot of content. It took a while to put together. I do appreciate. I'd like doing stuff like this. So we will see you for Speed Weeks Thursday for the Twin Duels, and then the Daytona 500 this Sunday coming up. So hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you soon. Good night, guys.